Hey guys, Garrett McLaughlin here. In the video for this week, at the exercise of the week, I want to cover what's called big toe isometric flexion, big toe isometric abduction. So these are two super important motions in areas we really need to make sure we develop good strength in, to run, to stand on a single leg, to push off, to balance, up and down stairs. It doesn't really matter, right, what your end goal is. We need to have the necessary strength and endurance at the foot, and specifically that big toe, to really function at our best. So if we just think about what these motions are, and I just show you the foot, flexion is, can we flex, right? We're flexing the toes and pushing, right? Flexing those toes down that way. Abduction is, as I've shown in previous videos, can we pull and actively move that toe out to the side? Can we splay the toe? And in this case, we're going to talk specifically about the big toe as opposed to just all of those toes. One thing I noticed from a foot standpoint over time, those people, right, where if we're cramming the foot constantly in shoes, right, we have this more narrow toe box, our toes are being pulled in, we lose the ability to really use those smaller intrinsic muscles of the foot in the big toe. If that toe continues to come in and kind of crosses, creates an angle as it crosses towards that smaller toe, what's called the abductor hallucis, which is actually kind of inside that medial arch, which pulls the toe out, helps flexes, push into the ground, really is in a hard position to function, right? It's at a disadvantage almost because that toe's coming in and it's trying to pull the toe out, but it just can't do its job. So this is when you see a lot of instability, people that have trouble balancing, people that have trouble pushing off with power and have weakness in the foot, just because we're losing the normal alignment of the feet, or we just have weakness in these muscles. So for these exercises, all you're gonna do, pretty much you can sit on the ground, you can go in the half kneeling position like me right now. I'm just going to support the smaller toes, right, like this, because I'm not using those. It's not my focus of this drill, even though you can strengthen just by pushing into the ground. But I'm going to hold the smaller toes, just cup them in my hand. With the big toe, I always want to make sure I'm promoting good alignment. So I might have to pull that toe out first a little bit to align it if I'm someone that has that valgus position at the big toe. But I'm just going to flex, push that big toe in, and then try to engage and activate those muscles through the medial arch. So if you're someone that's been told you overpronate, which again, pronation is normal, we want to make sure we don't go too quickly or too far into that position as we run, because we're going to really lose a lot of energy and stress certain muscles here. But this is a very good drill to strengthen those muscles of the medial arch. I'm just going to flex, push into the ground. This is where the isometric comes in. So big toe or great toe isometric flexion, I'm flexing that big toe, but because the floor is there, it's not allowing me to go through that range of motion. I can only go to the point where that big toe pushes into the ground, and then I'm actively building up tension, pushing strong, engaging those muscles of the arch, and then relaxing off. You can see my small toes are going to tend to want to do some of this. It's hard to perfectly isolate that big toe, but we still can, right? We still should have that dexterity where we can use the big toe, keep the smaller toes into extension, because there are different muscles that actually do that. But going into the ground, pushing, 1, 2, 3, we can do 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. I tend to do 3 to 5 seconds and then relax. Push, 1, 2, 3, and then relax. This will help with that push off phase, right? As I'm loading and pushing off to propel the body forward, to really create that strength, and also help us create stiffness so we can stabilize into the arch, right? Because we don't always want to be losing stability this way, foot rolling and rocking. That big toe creating stability will help really secure the foot into the floor. So that's the isometric big toe flexion. Now, when it comes to abduction, this is a tricky one, right? This is where people usually really struggle. It's a foreign motion, not something we're very familiar with. We push off our toes all day long, but do we ever really splay them and move them side to side and strengthen that motion? It's not as common. So I'm going to set up the same exact way. I'm going to cup the toes here. And what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to see if I can push that big toe out to the side, maintain the alignment of the toe, and I'm actually going to use my hand to push in against that big toe. So you can see my toes kind of hovering here. I don't want it in an extension. You can strengthen that if you want. I don't want to push it down into the floor and use that to cheat. I want to hover just above the ground, push and engage that toe outward, engage the muscles of the arch, and see if I can resist. As soon as I lose strength, I lose the ability to do so, that toe immediately collapses in. So holding, trying to engage these muscles first. I can feel those engaging. You see a little bit of motion of that toe going outward, pushing in against it, and then relaxing. 3, 5, 10 seconds, 10 repetitions or so, multiple sets. But you'll notice right away, right, if you're someone that cannot abduct the toe, we need that first, right? We need the ability to extend, create space between the toes here. If you can't do that, that's your first step. Step 2 is, now that we can get into that splay position, can we strengthen those muscles to actually do their job in that position? This is what I find a disconnect between toe yoga and toe splaying. A lot of people, again, even if your foot, again, you have this narrow toe box, a lot of people can get into that toe yoga exercise, but have a difficult job splaying and getting those toes separated and then strengthening in that position. So that is isometric big toe flexion and abduction. I'm going to show you a separate view here a little bit closer up so you can better appreciate that, and hope you get working on these foot exercises. So that is the great toe isometric flexion, great toe isometric abduction. Work on these toe exercises, get better dexterity, get better ability to splay, and to create strength and control in the foot. It will go a long way. A lot of research is showing that improving foot strength overall, foot strength and endurance, helps reduce the likelihood of running related injuries just because we're more stable, we're more strong to use that foot, which is our connection with the floor. If you have any questions, feel free, drop a comment below, contact me directly. I hope you enjoyed the exercise of the week this week, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks again.